All right, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Hook, host of Get Hooked, and I'm coming to you tonight with a another episode. Um, I'm really excited about this episode. One of the primary reasons is I've been doing this Get Hooked thing for I've been doing this Get Hooked thing for a while now, and this is actually going to be the first episode of the series that's gonna be a part of my live podcast. It's actually going to be on Apple. It's going to be on Google, and it's also on Spotify as well. So make sure you search "Get Hooked" and make sure you subscribe and like as well. And essentially tonight, what we're going to be talking about is a topic that is very near and dear to me, and it's going to be about the connection between poverty and crime. For those of you who really know me, you know that I come from rural Allendale, South Carolina. So does Sheila. And anyone who is familiar with Allendale, they know about you hear a lot about the crime and a lot of the shooting that goes on. And obviously, I have a vested interest because our families, because we're cousins actually, and our families there, my mom, her dad, our aunts, cousins, uncles, nieces, nephews, the whole nine. So we really want to discuss it. And one of the reasons that I started this entire Get Hooked movement is because I wanted to touch on subjects that people wanted to discuss, but they just really never really had the nerve and the platform to talk about. So for those of you watching on Facebook Live, I want you to make sure that you like, make sure you share, because we do want this to touch as many people as possible. And also, we want to make sure that you comment because your comments are truly what's going to drive the conversation. So before we begin, I want to let my guest introduce herself and really just talk about the reason that she wanted to come on.
Thanks, Hook, for actually inviting me on to the show. I'm from Allendale, South Carolina. One of my main motivations for wanting to speak on this topic is because our family, we lost a 15-year-old to gun violence. And we are having a lot of senseless shootings and murders in our area, and it's all being blamed on poverty. And there's some issues that we want to talk about where we agree or disagree with what's being placed on, like the stigma that's being placed on where we're from.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, we've lost family. We know friends who've lost family, and one of the things that really started this topic is that this past weekend there was a shooting. I'm sure it's been all over social media, so I'm sure that everyone's heard about it. But apparently there were what was it, 5 people that were
There were
shot, and
five
we
young men
right.
that was shot.
And initially, we heard between 5 and 7 initially, but it's been confirmed 5 people. The shooter has not been found yet. Hopefully, he is brought to justice. But essentially, what we're faced with right now is me and a couple of my friends got to talking, and we talked about the correlation between crime and poverty because where we're from, there's not there like the infrastructure and the socioeconomic status is not very good at all. Not a lot of jobs, not a lot to do. So people are starting to relate, the crime to the poverty that's in the area. Me personally, I was on the I was thinking more so that I feel I'm not going to say poverty doesn't play a part in it, but I think that personal decisions and choices as well, because I come from that background and I've never caught a body. I've
Right.
never shot anybody, never shot a gun actually, never had the desire to kill anybody. I lived there until I was 21 years old. So, it wasn't a situation where from 18 to 21, I mean, there wasn't a lot to do, but I still found other things to occupy my mind, whether it was school or girls or, whatever it was. But I just didn't feel the need to go down that road. So Sheila kind of talked to me about that. Like, do you feel that it's more so the poverty that's causing it, or do you think it's like more so a personal choice from the people who are involved?
I have two views on that.
Hmm.
I think that poverty does play a part in certain crimes that are being committed in in high poverty areas.
Hmm.
If you say, okay, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and I can barely feed my kids, I'm going to the grocery store and I'm going to steal a pack of meat to feed my children. Okay, but when you're using that as a crutch to say this is the reason why I'm going around town shooting up everybody that I can shoot, or this is why I'm going around town robbing just anybody because I'm bored. That's where I feel like poverty does not play. I think that we got to learn to stop using that as an excuse or a crutch to say, oh, Allendale has a high crime rate because of it's a high poverty area. Because, like you said, we both, neither one of us grew up with silver spoons in our mouth.
Absolutely.
I left when I was 17. I left to go in the military. You lived there until you were 21. But even when we were there, we had parents. We saw people that worked. My mom would work 3 or 4 jobs just to take care of her 4 kids. And none of us are out here killing and robbing and using drugs. You're not killing and robbing and using drugs. You get what I'm saying? So we took what we saw. We saw parents that worked hard. We saw our aunts and uncles work hard, and we say, this is what I know and this is what I'm going to do.
Absolutely.
And even for those that did not have that, we have a lot of successful people from Allendale. Absolutely. We have lawyers, we have judges, we have doctors, engineers, with degrees from MIT. You have a brother with a degree from MIT, and he does not have one body.
That's the shit they don't talk about.
Right, they don't talk about that. He doesn't have a body on him, and he didn't grow up with a silver spoon in his mouth. So I think that we got to stop using poverty as an excuse or a crutch as to why we have so much high crimes in small areas.
Right, absolutely. And I guess even if you come in from an impoverished area, if you are going to commit crime, my thing is people who don't have, they don't rob other people who don't have. They rob the people that have. So with the crime, okay, you're shooting, killing, and looting people who are just as worse off as you. So what are you really accomplishing? So that's why I feel that I think it's a little deeper than just poverty, because these shootings that are occurring, I don't think anybody's getting robbed. I think it's just the fact that people are actually, like they're enamored by living that life. You know what I mean? And personally, I just don't get it. Like I can't wrap my mind around it. And it's sad because again, we have family there, and I don't want my mom fearing for her life because some knucklehead wants to do what he wants to do. You know what I mean? So poverty is one thing, but at what point does the family structure really play into it?
My opinion, and I'm not blaming, and trust me when I say this, I'm not blaming this on every parent. I'm not blaming this and saying that the parents are not doing their jobs, because when we as children leave the household, we make decisions to do what we want to do once we leave, whether we were taught the right or wrong way. But what I will say is, my reason for not going out there shooting and killing is because my mama put the fear of God in me. I knew better. I knew that, and back then, it took a village to raise a child. Back then, if my aunt saw me do something, she cut my behind. Then I went home and my mom cut my behind. And then if my uncle found out about it, he cut my behind, So it was where we had respect. We knew that we had to respect each other. And I think that a lot of the senseless crimes that's going on in Allendale now is because they have a lack of respect for themselves, for their neighbor, for the community, and their board.
I think that a lot of it is simply a complete and utter disregard for human life.
Yeah.
Like how can you even wake up in the morning knowing that you it's because of you that somebody lost a loved one, somebody lost a mother, a father, a sibling, whoever. And I think that it's because I know a lot of people, and a lot of people are logging in right now. Thank you everybody for joining. But the fact is, we all came from there, and we all don't have that mindset. A lot of us left. I know I left because I wanted to be able to have a career and have things that I know that I couldn't have. So it's a choice. You don't have to stay in that situation, even if you do stay there, because there are a lot of people who still live there who are successful and they're doing what they have to do. But because you're around that life doesn't mean you necessarily have to live that life.
Exactly.
And Arisha has our first comment. Thank you for the comment. She said that there are other counties that have high poverty rates, but less violence. It's got to be more than that.
Exactly.
And I think for so long we've used it as a crutch. And I think that the media plays a part in it because you mentioned earlier we have a lot of good things about Allendale, a lot of successful people that have come through there, and they're continuing to excel. But what the media focuses on is, oh, here comes Allendale, and don't go to Allendale. And I'm like, but like when I think of home, I don't think of it as this place where people are, looting and shooting it on substance. Even though it goes on, to me, it's home, and I love it dearly, and that's why I'm so passionate about this. You know what I mean?
I love going back home. Arisha, I totally agree with you that it has to be more than just the fact that it's a high poverty rate. And actually, if you go to Allendale, you don't see homeless people sleeping on the streets.
Right.
You don't see burned down buildings. It's actually a very small and nice, homely community. It's just that the young men there now have total disrespect for the human life and for adults. And because I think that if you actually had respect for the human life, there is no way possible that you would actually think to go get in your car, pick up a gun, ride past a highly populated area and just open fire in such a small community. That means that you have no respect for anything. And you got to think about it. Like when my sister lost her son in 2014, the most hurtful thing for me was because I would see her hurting and my hugs could not heal her, could not make her feel better. Then we see these other parents losing their other children. And every time I hear about another child being lost to gun violence, especially in our community, it hurts. Doesn't matter if I'm related to them or not. It's because I understand that pain. And I think that if they really understood and respected the pain that these family members get from losing a loved one, then they would stop and they would think about their actions before they move forward with it.
Absolutely. And a lot of our comments, honestly, we're probably going to step on some toes, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
No.
If we step on toes, it is what it is. Because again, we all want the what's best for our community. And if you have and if you have a comment, please, we want to hear from you, because we don't have the answers here. So we're not saying that these are our opinions. We're not saying we're right. It doesn't make us right. It doesn't make you wrong. But we want to hear from you as well. So make sure you like, share, and comment, because I think that a lot of people, they want to hear about it and they want to talk about it, but they just don't have they for whatever reason they haven't gotten the courage to do so. And another thing is, I think that for me personally, I think that because it's been going on for so long, that it's becoming tolerated. We tolerate it
Yeah.
because we expect it. Like I know when we go home, I won't lie to you. When I see these young cats walking around, I don't know who's who. I don't know them. I don't even look at them. I'll make eye contact because I don't, you know what I mean? Because not that I'm afraid, but my mom is there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't want to see them.
Retaliation.
Yeah, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them. Go get it up for me. I think it's cow. I don't want to see them. See me in my mom's yard, and because I don't live there, now it's like they feel they have to retaliate, or if we can't get him, we're gonna get someone close to him. What's up, man? And my second guest just arrived. Make your way around, Mr. Cal Green. No, you can't see it up here, but I promise you, you in
You wanna see them right here?
All right.
All right. So, Cal, earlier, I had Sheila kind of talk about the reason that she wanted to make an appearance. No, you're fine. All right.
Okay.
No, you're fine. And so, kind of tell us about your motivation behind wanting to make an appearance here.
So as far as from what perspective again?
Really, just the connection between poverty and crime.
So it's crazy, man. So I'm from Jasper County, like South Carolina.
We all know where Jasper is.
Right. So coming from a place like Jasper County, like you see, well, some people don't even see what's out there. So you don't even know what's possible.
Right.
So you kind of go through life, kind of just thinking like what I see on TV might not be possible for me.
Right.
So if you already have that type of mindset, like maybe I don't have a chance or a fair opportunity, you then result to what you already know, or what you kind of see what's around you. So where I'm from, man, we got 33 unsolved murders, and that's a small town. We rank almost in the bottom of the state in education. We rank high in the state in almost like crime rate, and if people don't see what's out there and they don't think that maybe I got a fair shot, then they kind of just go from what they know. Like everybody knew like who the dope boy was. Everybody knew kind of who did what. And so you saw like that was my only route to be successful, was to sell dope, was to rob, was to
That's all we saw.
Right. So that's why sometimes, man, we got to give those kids opportunities. So you come to a city like Columbia, and that's on the flip side. So coming from Jasper and then living in Columbia, you see like a Boys and Girls Club, you see city parks, county parks, you see all these different opportunities that people can be a part of. And then you think back at the kids in Jasper, and you're like, man, I was really robbed as a kid.
Right. Deprived.
Yeah, right.
We didn't have that.
Right. And so even though we have, crime up here and all, it's just kids have something else to kind of strive to, and they see, like they see people who not just the dope boy that's driving a BMW. In Ridgeland, the dope boy was driving the BMW, so you felt like that. So you come from a poverty-stricken situation that's high on crime. The educational system suffers, and so now you just think that that is the only way of life.
That's the way out,
Right.
right, absolutely. And
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, what do you say? Like, and that was back then for us, back in the late '80s, early '90s. So, what do you say for the kids now, where they, because like from Allen to Allen is small, just like Jasper, right?
Right.
So, and we have something like we just had a young lady from Allendale that was just sworn into the Supreme Court, right?
Right.
So, what do you say now when you have when you see all of this, even though you may not have been outside of your area, but you see these people come back, like Bashad comes back and he has these football camps, or you see on Facebook that you had Pam that just was sworn into the Supreme Court, right? Or you have Ty, who's a lawyer. You have all of these people who are successful and they come home and this is what you see. This is who you see driving these nice cars. What do you say for them? You know, what is the issue then? Do we still blame it on the fact that they don't have a Boys and Girls Club?
Well, no, I think at that point it's almost. So I wrote a book called The Mentality Changer, a journey to help change how you once thought about you. So now after situations are almost, and it's not, it'll never be a even playing field because for one, the jobs in Hardyville and Jasper County and Hampton County and those type counties down there in Estill, so they don't have the job to sustain any type of what's the word I'm looking for, like tax opportunities.
Right.
So students don't have, well, not just students, people down there don't even have like the right mindset to even think of something more. So even if the people that you list, so from Jasper County, we have those same type individuals who left, did exceptional, and you kind of, I take that back. Sometimes that's the problem. Sometimes let me just. Sometimes those people don't go back and then show up in the schools or in the community events and let those kids see a face to show, yo, I did it. Like I was once you. When they have like events at school in Jasper, and sometimes I get on them because I'm like, yo, I got all these schools around here who beating my phone down, emailing me to come speak, cutting a $1,500 check, and I'm telling you I'll come speak for free, and you not even reaching out to me. I can't tell you I'm gonna do it for free and email you and call. Like I gotta
they want you to do the legwork, and you know what? And that's one of the biggest problems we have in Allendale too. Is that when the shooting just happened, and then you see all these people posting, well, you don't live here, and if you're not gonna do anything, don't say anything. That's false. I'm from Allendale. I love Allendale. My family is still there. And just because I'm not there does not mean that I don't like to. Allendale for me is my peace. When I leave Columbia and I go home for the weekend, oh my God, it's so peaceful. So I love going back. And I want to go back more often and spend time with my family. So don't say just because I don't live there that I don't care. Reach out to me. Even I may not be a millionaire, but I'm successful compared to where I came from. You know, I'm doing my part. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that the people that we have, the young men and women that's coming up now, know that it's okay to think outside the box.
Absolutely.
Because our parents, they did what they knew. They did their best. But the parents now, we cannot use lack of taxes to bring more things into the community. We cannot use high poverty because that's something society placed on us. Allendale is not high in poverty. Compared to these other places I've been, Allendale is not high in poverty. We're doing exceptionally well compared to downtown DC and Baltimore.
I agree.
We got to stop using those as an excuse and stop pulling in these people and stop saying, well, she's doing better than me, so she thinks she's better than me. No. You must think that I'm better than you because I'm not thinking that. Hell, I'm trying to figure out how to come back home and retire.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So reach out to us, tell us what you need, and let us bring it to you.
Absolutely. And guys, make sure you like, make sure you share, and also make sure you comment. I see a lot of people, especially from back home, who are joining. We want to hear your comments as well. And to kind of piggyback on what one thing that both of you guys said, we talk about people say where you don't live here, so you don't care. The thing is, like, like my sister and I, we partnered together and we've done a lot down there. You know what I mean? Like, first year we had a youth rally where we actually invited everybody from the community to show up. You know, some people showed up, a lot of people did not. The majority of people didn't. I wrote a play You know, we had a play. I invited youth from the area to come participate. We had a few people that came in. We solicited, and it went off good. And we fed everybody. And these are all free events. These are things we did for free. But these are things I did in my own free time. I didn't get paid for it. I didn't want any recognition. Fairfax Elementary took off a Saturday, went down there, helped paint, clean up. We asked for volunteers from the community. There were like 10 people out there total. So I don't want to hear that, you know, and the thing is, and like I said earlier, if I'm stepping on toes, again, I don't apologize for that because here in Columbia, remotely, I can only do so much.
Right.
And honestly, I've gotten away from it. I'm still passionate about it, but I've done less simply because I've been focusing on other things. But like, you don't have to wait on anybody else to make a move. Anything that anybody does, I'm going to support 110%.
Exactly.
Chubb has a comment, a novel actually. Again, good, Chubb, I appreciate it. Chubb says, not only is it's going to be on, not only it's been going on so long, it's been going on so long and nothing ever happens, nor does anyone get arrested. It's more of an accountability issue to me. Everyone must be held accountable. Community leaders, law enforcement, and the citizens. Right now, we have a cancer spreading, and we got to figure it out to stop it. Definitely. And you're right. A lot of things happen down there, and a lot of people don't pay the price for it. Because I mean, being gangster on the street is one thing. Being gangster in prison is completely different. And I think the people who are committing these crimes, they need to pay.
Right. And that's the thing in Ridgeland, man. So it was one incident. Somebody told me back home. They was at a cookout. This guy went up to the person at the cookout, shot him in his head at the cookout, and then nobody was arrested for that. You can't tell me it was just two people at the cookout.
Right, yeah.
Like, and so now they have
a black cookout.
right. So now they have this whole mindset of you can't be a snitch. At some point, it ain't about snitching. It's about taking care of your community, taking somebody off the street who had the nerve, the audacity,
Right.
to walk up and shoot somebody in the head at a cookout.
But they did that because they knew there wasn't going to be a repercussion.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like that's that. I find an issue with that. And again, that goes back. So in my book, I talk about the crab and the barrel mentality. And I said, you either the crab. So if somebody's saying, yo, I'm about to leave out, man, I'm leaving out the hood, dog. I'm going up to Columbia. I'm going to Atlanta. I'm gonna go start my business. And then are you that person who say, no, don't leave. People in Atlanta overpopulated, overcrowded. Why are you going to Atlanta?
Exactly.
And so are you the crab who pulls the person back who's trying to tell you what they're trying to do? And then in the book I talk about, are you the barrel? So the barrel is that city that you feel like you just can't leave from. Like, I can't leave from Allendale. Allendale, that's all I know. This all I'm gonna know. Nah, man, like at what point in your life do you say, you know what, I see something big out there. Jay-Z is the first hip hop billionaire out there. Like if he did it,
Right.
he came from Marcy Projects. He said he sold crack, he sold this, he started rapping.
Right.
Now he a businessman. I'm a businessman. Like, if he did it, somebody like Jay-Z tell me, man, I can do anything. Somebody like Tyler Perry, who was living in a car, going from city to city to show plays, and nobody hardly showed up to his plays. And now, if he put a movie out, man, we flock to the theaters to see it.
Absolutely.
Somebody like them can do it. Oh, that gives me all the hope and the motivation, saying that I can do it too.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Chubb makes another great point. He's saying that the citizens must hold community leaders accountable.
Right.
And definitely, it starts up top. Because I went to one town council meeting. It was like earlier this year. And again, there weren't a lot of people in there. Like, you have to sitting idly by and waiting for shit just to happen just because it's not going to happen. So you have to, I mean, vote for people for the right reasons.
Right.
Not because you know them, not because you're cool with their family. We want to
Right.
get people in there who are actually going to make a difference. And again, earlier we kind of talked about, giving back and go, telling our stories, right? Like,
Right.
I'm far from a rich man. I'm not a rich man at all, but
Right.
I do okay. And, I came, and to me, I'm successful. I don't have a six-figure salary, but I'm successful because of what I've overcome.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of my classmates and friends die in, on drugs and a whole lot of things. I could have been a statistic, but I'm not. You know what I mean? So I can go and I can talk to everybody about my experiences. But I think the gap is a lot. I think the disconnect. Some people who move away from Allendale and Jasper start thinking, oh, I'm out, I'm done.
Right.
You know, I'm too good to go
Right,
back home.
right.
We talk about the Screen Festival, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things in Allendale. People on Facebook always talking about y'all still going down there and there ain't nothing down there and y'all do that every year. Yeah, I mean I go because I know I'm gonna see my family, friends, and my classmates. That's why I go. And then that's making a lot of people who still live in Allendale feel that some of us who moved away think that we're better.
Right.
But that's not the case. You know what I mean? We all came from the same place. If I see you and we rock together, like I'm going to acknowledge you, I'm going to hug you, I'm going to dap you up, I'm going to do that. But we have to stop thinking it's a scrap in the barrel mentality. We all black, first of all, so we all need to unify and we need to stand in solidarity.
Let me tell you something. I did 15 and a half years in the Army, and anybody, and I've been a lot of places, different countries. Anybody that's ever come in contact with me know about Allendale. That's how much I love where I'm from.
Right.
Any of my friends in Texas, my friends in wherever they are, they know about Allendale. They know whenever I went on leave, I didn't go on leave and go on vacation to Jamaica. I went home to Allendale and spent my 30 days on leave in Allendale because I'm gonna tell you something. Even if I liked or disliked what was going on there, that was my motivation for me to be who I am and go where I'm going. Yeah, home is where the heart is. You know what I'm saying? So, and another thing, when it comes to success, a lot of them think that because we left and we're doing better, and not saying better, we're doing something different than what you are doing does not make us better than you. Everybody's success is their own success. Set your own goals. Like, I remember when I was deployed, and one of the guys was from Fayetteville, North Carolina. He was about to ETS from the Army. And we were all sitting around, and he was talking about what he was going to do with his bonus. He said, I'm going home to Fayetteville. I'm going to buy me 2 acres of land and a double wide trailer. Now, let me tell you, other people from up north don't know about double wide trailers.
Right.
And it was like, well, you're going to buy a double wide, that's his success. Those are his goals.
Right.
Just because he chose to buy a double wide and I chose to buy a 2-story house does not mean that I reached mine and he did not reach his.
Absolutely.
Everybody set your own goals and reach your own success. Don't base yours off of mine.
Right.
And yours may be better than mine because while you own your double wide, I'm still trying to pay off a 2-story house.
Right.
You get what I'm
Right.
saying? Another thing, Chubb was talking about holding the leaders in the community responsible and accountable.
Right.
Kyle just talked about a shooting at a barbecue where a guy walked up, shot somebody, and no one was arrested. So do we blame these officers for not staying motivated when the community is not willing to, quote unquote, snitch or do their part and make sure that that person gets arrested?
Right.
Because what can it do to you when they in jail?
Right. And
So we got to make sure that these officers stay motivated as well. We got to do our part to help them.
I mean, I'll be 43 next week, so it's like this whole snitching thing. Like, you shouldn't snitch. I mean, my thing is, if I see you shoot somebody, and what I mean, it's like I'm I'm just supposed to let it go. You know what I mean? I think a lot of that's it's become commonplace. It's become accepted. It's kind of like, well,
A norm.
nothing's gonna happen, and we just they're just being who they are,
Right.
and we're just gonna let it go. So I personally I don't get it. And again, guys, make sure that you continue sharing, and commenting. I see a lot of people on, so we do want to hear from you.
Now, so like my homeboy Justin, man, Justin Swing, he lives in Atlanta, Georgia. But me and him kind of grew up together in a sense. I think he was maybe 2 or 3 years ahead of me. But Justin was like somebody who I would see back home, who I would see growing up, who was a good sports. He played sports. He was a stand-up person in school, and he like one of the people that I wanted to like model after when I was growing up, like a big brother in a sense.
Right.
But Justin is somebody who still goes back home when we have toy drives. He donate to the cause. He'll share it. He'll do whatever. I think he worked at like Pepsi. They've had events where he's like donated stuff just to kind of say that, yo, I might be living in Atlanta, but like how he said, home is where the heart is.
My
Like,
heart is still here.
right.
Right.
So sometimes, man, the people who leave small towns, a lot of these metropolitan cities are made up of people who came from small
Exactly.
towns. So we can never forget where we came from.
No.
Like once you begin to forget and lose focus of where you came from, because at the end of the day, everybody has a story, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody's been through something. Everybody has a test that has given them their testimony. Everybody went through some mess and that's given them their message.
Right.
So just because you make it and you live in a successful life in this big city never forget about the people in the village that help mold you and shape you. And when you messed up, they say, yo, I'm not gonna give up on you because I see the potential of greatness that lives inside of you. I'm gonna still be there for you. Like it's somebody back home in that small town who needs the same thing that somebody gave you. So we gotta be willing to reach back. Oftentimes, I don't know why we think like we can't reach back to help, not to look back, because sometimes you look back, you lose sight of your vision. But no, I can reach back and still feel your hand and the help pulled you up.
There you go. Yeah, it's passing the baton. Essentially, that's all there is to it. And we want to continue.
Hold on. Sorry, I said Justin worked for Pepsi. He works for Coke. I do not want to mess that up. Sorry, Justin.
Hey, Justin, we apologize. And Larry, thank you for the comment. Essentially, Larry says, all he got to say is we have to come together because we can't have this in our town. And I agree, but what I've learned is easier said than done.
Right.
We can talk about solidarity all the time, but until we take action, nothing's going to change. So it will take sacrifice. It's going to take, time. It's going to take money, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I think it's going to take more time than money, simply because all you got to do is give of yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and you don't have to wait on a huge group to do it.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep that thought, but when you say giving of your time, I didn't learn this until recently. Philanthropy, most people think being a philanthropist, like you have to give your money.
Right.
I learned it's giving up your time. That's that's doing philanthropy type work. That's crazy.
I think people lose sight. They think, well, because everybody isn't going to be financially able to give all the time.
Exactly.
It's kind of like, talk about tithes in the church, right? Like, if you ain't got it, you ain't got it.
Right.
You can't get what you ain't got.
Right.
But God understands. So
understands.
if I'm having an event and you can't contribute financially, I get it, brother. Just come out.
Right.
Okay. I don't need your money. That's why when we had these events, we didn't ask for a dime. We asked you to give your time. We had sponsors. We contributed our own money. We did GoFundMe and all these other things. But we, didn't go saying, well, you can't participate if you don't pay. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let me tell you. I think it was last summer. The way I think that these days it's very hard for kids to graduate high school. So when I hear about a child graduating high school, I get emotional, like I want to cry.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, oh my God, they did it because it's hard now. It's not the way it used to be. So last year I posted, I said I need a 500-word essay. I said I'm gonna pay for whoever wins. I'm gonna pay for their entire prom experience, hair, makeup, ride, whatever. And I actually had people from back at home who said, I love what you're doing. Whoever wins, let me know. I get them a free haircut. I do their makeup. I did not get one essay.
Wow.
From one child.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, how can I help? I'm trying to reach back. Am I not doing it the way that you want me to do it? Tell me what I need to do to help somebody. And it wasn't me saying, because when I do it, I'm telling you. I don't tell nobody I'm doing it.
Right.
What do I need to do to let you know that I'm proud of you? That I'm here to let you know that, okay, even though you're supposed to graduate, I understand that it's hard. So I'm letting you know that, hey, here are the accolades for doing what was tough.
The fact is, we as black folks, we gotta stop this shit. Like it's if it's not the right person conveying the message, we don't want no part of it. If it's somebody who we don't like or we don't care for, I don't have a jealous bone in my body. I don't hate anybody.
Right.
If I see a person in need, I'm gonna help. I don't care what my personal thoughts are. I don't care what you've done to me in the past. The fact is, because I have to answer.
That was probably high school anyway.
and people are still holding on to that. And Chubb has another comment. He says, piggybacking off of what Larry said, that radio station is killing the town. They do nothing but think this is a game. Sad thing is they are both community leaders.
And you're absolutely right.
Well, hold on. What do you mean by that?
There's a radio station and then the guy, the disc jockey is the owner. And whenever there are things that's going on in the community, it's a gossip station.
Right.
It's all about gossip.
Right.
And it's killing me.
Not to cut you off, but you know what it is. What ethnicity is he?
He's white.
Okay. Say no more. Say no more. Call a spade a spade. Like we might be from the same community, but they don't give a shit about our problems.
No, they don't.
To them, it's a joke. It's something that they can talk about and try to get ratings or whatever. But my thing is, they're talking about it. What the hell are they doing?
And what our black people need to do is stop calling in Carl Green Show and giving them our business. And the thing is, even if we have African Americans, blacks that are committing crimes, stop calling in talking about your people because Carl Gooden don't care. You know, we really don't care. Stop shutting each other down.
So my cousin Jamal, he said, I think we have to properly educate to help us analyze the issues before we begin to invest back into the communities. And he right, everything.
I agree.
Everything trickles back to education. The fundamental, and I'm not saying reason, excuse, whatever the case, whatever synonym you want to find, but everything starts on the back of a good educational experience. If you are not properly educated, if our family members, our cousins, if they don't take education serious, that is a fault of the entire village. Like I came up on a village mentality, a village approach. My grandmother, she might have could give me this look, and I knew if I did something, she would bust fire straight up out of me. But I knew that Coach Lawyer would do the same thing. I knew Coach Faber would do the same thing. I knew Miss Jones in the community, Cousin T. I knew if I act up and anybody saw it, or if my grades wasn't right, and a teacher knew me, because we might have been related, or they knew my family, they could pull me aside and check me and say, yo, Kyle, like, what are you doing?
What's really going on?
Sometimes we so concerned of what's happening in our own home. And you know they say you can't do nothing if you don't sweep your own front door. Right. Yo, I'm sweeping around your front door too, because if my neighbor over there, if they child don't succeed or they child not successful, that's gonna ultimately affect like my cul-de-sac in my neighborhood. So I go speak at schools, I go speak at white schools, I go speak at black schools, I speak at Hispanic schools, because I'm gonna one day get older, right? And I'm gonna need those same kids who gonna be making the decision to make sure that they make the right decisions when I'm 60, 70 years old that can ultimately affect
no
me.
longer in position to do it yourself, right? And the thing is, back in the day, we talk about dope boys, right? Like the dope boys were like friends with my brother and cousins and stuff like that, right? If they saw me out there doing something I wasn't supposed to be, they know I wasn't about that life.
Right.
And they would say, you need to get your ass back home, go home with your mama. I'm gonna get your brother on the phone, and you know they would, even though they were about their life, they educated me, telling me this ain't what you want to do.
Right.
You need to go to school. But I think now it's become, it's almost like that they're recruiting.
Yeah.
Saying, you know, they're trying to get their crew together. They don't have that same accountability, and they're not trying to better these young kids. Like they don't have, like you may start out. We know a lot of cats who started out in the street, and I see a lot of these cats now, man, and I have nothing but the utmost respect because they lived that life. They served time, and they, you know, done different crimes and different deeds. But they got out. They own businesses. They're doing well, and like they have my utmost respect. 'Cause I don't know what it's about to live that life. You know what I mean? But to me, and we talk about successful. You mentioned education. Like education doesn't necessarily mean you need to go out. You got to have a college degree or a PhD. Like you can develop a trade, or there are a lot of things you can do.
College is not for everybody.
Exactly, and honestly, had I known what I know now, I'm sure I would still went to college, but I also would have had a trade as well.
That's a show in itself. Right. If you knew what you knew now, would you go to college or would you go to trade school?
Right. There you go. When you talk about education, we're also talking about the basics. How many times have you sat in to interview someone and you have a black person that does not even know how to conduct themselves during an interview?
Right.
Some people don't know how to write a resume.
Right.
Some people don't realize that if you're raising kids, you're a manager. Put that management experience on your resume.
And these are all things that a lot of us have done. Like from my brother, I've learned how to do resumes real well. And then people at work, you know, they come to me and I help them with their resumes. So I never even thought about it. Why am I not helping people back home develop their resumes? You know, it's stuff that I haven't even thought about. But these are all things, it's each one reach one. We all have different skills and things that, you know, we can teach these kids.
Like what Justin said, he just said a great point. He said, we hustle with a plan to get out. This generation's hustle for the fame. Bruh, if that ain't, man, when I was in Pineland, like it's Ridgeland, but I grew up in Pineland, so it might be called Pineland because there was a whole bunch of pine trees and a whole lot of land with a whole bunch of deer. So I grew up down the dirt road. And so I remember I would have to walk when I was like 6, 7, playing small fry, pee-wee. I would have to walk down my dirt road with my helmets to catch a ride to football practice, and then I would have to catch a ride back home. So I knew it was something that like my hustle was, man, I got to get out of this because I want to one day have my own car.
to drive to the
Like for me, I just wanted a car. Like I didn't know what having a car felt like, bro. Like I had to get rides from my homeboys, Jonas White, Marcus Parker, like Kendall Bowden. Like they would have to pick me up because you know my mom, she was on drugs, and my father, he wasn't there. He was in the next town over, and my grandmother, she was like so I ain't had nothing. So for me, man, my hustle was, yo, I gotta get it because I don't want my kids to have to go through this. I had a daughter when I was 16 and in 10th grade. So I knew it was something that I had to do because I had somebody that was dependent directly on my success. So my hustle like was geared to something bigger than what I just saw.
And the game changes when you have kids.
What?
The game changes completely. Everything I do, every decision I make is I'm thinking, you know, I got to be good for my daughter. You know what I mean? If I get upset or if I want to do anything that I know is going to land me in some serious trouble, I got to think, well, if I'm not here, who's gonna take care? Nobody's gonna love Zoe like I love Zoe. You know what I mean?
For me, my hustle was I don't have children, so my hustle was my mom. I saw a woman raising 4 kids. I remember one summer I didn't see her at all that summer because she worked 3 jobs.
Wow.
She worked 3 jobs for the whole summer to get school clothes and to keep the lights on. So my motivation was my mama was my best friend, even when I was a teenager. So it was I got to be successful because I'm tired of my mama working so hard. I'm tired of her struggling. So when I make it, she can go ahead and sit on her behind and enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Absolutely, you're right. And Roderick makes a great point. He says, when my generation was growing up, we had big brothers, Gerald, Ants, Tyrone, Bug. They would discipline us. But now, if you try to either parents say something or the kids want to fight back, and he had a great point. And these are all guys that I looked up to growing up. Regardless of what they did, they never introduced that to us. You know what I mean? They didn't say, well, they encouraged us. You know what I mean? And he also said nowadays parents are gonna say something if you say something. Back in my day, man, like if I got in trouble, I get beat at school. When I got home, my mom would beat me. If I beat it to my grandma's house before she got there, or my uncle got hold of me, you know what I mean? It's like I was gonna get it, so it's like I'm not even going through 5 ass whoopings.
And our older cousins were allowed to cut out behind. Roger, remember now, Tisha and Romel and Tasha used to babysit me. And they used to, oh my God, they used to squirt baby milk in my face from the baby bottle. But I couldn't say nothing because they were allowed to come out behind. But when I grew up, those are the people I went back to see when I came home on leave because of the respect I had for them. Imagine how many times you have been standing in the grocery store, the line at the grocery store, and you have an older person in front of you and a child from this generation, and you hear them cursing in line. I knew better than to let something come out of my mouth that did not make sense. Because that lady was allowed to backhand slap me. The lady on the cash register was allowed to backhand slap me. The store manager, everybody in the store, my mama, my neighbors, everybody. But not saying that literally, but then it was a village raising a child.
Definitely. And now, like, it's, like, my older family members, they still pull rank. Like, my brother, he'll still check me. And even though he's only 6 years older than me, like, I'm not going to disrespect him.
You know your limits.
Right, exactly. Like even, I may get upset, but I'm not gonna try to fight him or get mad. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna digress. My sister does the exact same thing. She'll check me and I won't say anything. But nowadays,
she checked everybody.
Right. But nowadays it's kind of like, well, I'm grown, you can't tell me anything. So it's still a respect factor. You know what I mean? Like people don't even say sir anymore. You know what I mean?
No.
It's like, you know what I mean? Well, I think they replace it with unk now. I think that's.
You have to remind them. You gotta put a handle on that.
Right.
So Jamal, my cousin, he said, when no respect is exchanged, then perspective change. Love has to be respected again for effective change.
Right.
My grandmother didn't have a whole lot, right? She raised me and my sister on a fixed income. And my grandma had already had, she was married twice. So she had like 18 kids total if you look at both of her like husbands. But the one thing that my grandmother gave me a whole lot of was love. But she not only just gave me like love and said, Kyle, I love you. She showed me. She would be sitting there and she would rub me, and we would be sitting there watching the heat of the night. And I don't know why she used to rub me on my shoulder, and she would sing these spiritual hymns, and she would rub me, and then she would grab my hand.
She was praying for you.
What?
She was praying.
Like
she didn't have to say it.
And
it was her
apparently those
conversation
prayers
with God.
worked. They work. You know what I mean?
And they still work.
And it's all coming full circle now. We didn't get it back then, and I think everybody's has seen every episode of In the Heat of the Night.
Right.
Yes.
like we OGs right now. Dora says we had great mentors coming up.
We did. We did.
The coaches.
The coaches were like the third parent in the household.
Right.
And they can't have that now. You see where they're saying like the coach yelled at the child and grabbed their head, their mask, and the game. And now, the coaches were the third parent.
The coaches would grab my face mask. They would hit me with whatever pad or whatever they had in their hand, and I took it. Like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, but nowadays
we gotta bring that back.
We're pampering these kids so much, man.
Right.
I think a huge part of it though.
I don't think we're pampering the kids. We're coddling the parents.
That too.
That's a combination of both.
But the thing is, if your child come and complain to you, the coach yelled at me because I didn't do this, and I don't like the way he yelled. As a parent, what did you do? What you were supposed to do? Go in your room and do your homework. You'll be okay. Yeah. So we're coddling parents because
the next day and raise hell.
Yeah, because now, and I'm not speaking for everybody. So if this does not, retain you, don't put you on. Don't run with it.
Let it fly.
Yeah, right. But our generation is doing a horrible job of raising kids. We are. Yeah. Because you want too much coddling because y'all want to let Dr. Phil tell y'all how to raise y'all children. Let me tell y'all, how many of Dr. Phil, what do y'all know is going on in Dr. Phil's house?
Right.
We put a diagnosis on everything. You tell it when a doctor tell your child you tell your child has ADHD, don't go tell your child they have ADHD because they're gonna act like they have ADHD. Stop telling these communities that we got high crime because it's high poverty. They're gonna start doing it. Well, we ain't got nothing to do anyway, so I'm gonna go shoot up Mojo. Stop saying it. Stop. And number one, stop accepting it.
Right. What I will say about parenting is a couple things. One, coming from where we come from, we didn't have a whole lot going on. We didn't always have what we wanted. We always had what we needed though.
Right.
But it was a struggle getting that. But nowadays, I know with me personally, I want to give my daughter the things I didn't have.
Right.
So sometimes I find myself overextending and doing things I shouldn't have and not really putting my foot down like I want. Honestly, and because I'm a parent, I won't say that we're doing a horrible job. What I will say, we're not our parents. We don't raise our kids the way that our parents raised us. Because when they said something, they meant it.
Right.
And they didn't call us, they didn't, reward us for mediocrity. They did what they had to do. But now I think it's simply, I think we're good parents, but I think we need to put the clamps down and we need to make sure that we're inspecting what we expect.
And let me clarify. When I say that we're doing a horrible job, what I mean is we have too many parents that want to be friends versus parents. We care too much about how our kids are going to feel if we put our feet down. And I'm not saying we, and I am going to include myself because I'm actually involved in, and I have a hand in raising my nieces and my nephews, my nieces in my household. Yeah. And she's a good kid. But she has a cell phone. She has an iPhone 10. And she's 10.
Better than mine.
but she's 10. And sometimes, like me and Crystal was talking, we was like, when she passed, she did good, her grades were good. We want her to do better next year. So next year when she come home from school, less phone, more studying.
Right.
So it's more of us, we got to just start doing more of parenting versus being friends and caring about what you think.
And Chilton makes a great point. I'm glad he touched on it. He says mental health is another huge issue. Yeah. We're mourning the events, but we're ignoring the signs, especially as Black people. Yeah. That's something we don't talk about enough. And I think on last season's one of the episodes, I did mention I did seek help. You know what I mean? Because I was moderately depressed. I didn't even know it. Like, I had no idea. I know I had a lot of anger issues growing up, and I get mad for no reason. People thought it was because I was a Gemini, but it turns out. But after talking and seeking counseling, like, I feel so much better now. But like, a lot of these things are happening for a reason. We don't know what's going through somebody's head, so it's not fair to say, well, this person knows better. Maybe they know better, but like, what's really causing them to really act out like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I had a couple of people. So Justin was like, yeah, these parents are pampering these kids. He also said, we listen to the OGs, this generation out thinking they know everything from birth, which is so true. Right. My homegirl Crystal said, these kids definitely don't know the struggle, and it's true, and we want to give them the things that we didn't have. Right. Man, that is so my son, right, whenever I go back home in the house that I grew up in, and I would tell them stories like, I don't know if they got as many roaches now, right, but when I grew up, like, it was free before 10, because when we turned the lights off and came back and I had to use a bathroom, it would be so many roaches on the counter. I remember telling KJ one time, like, it was the only box of cereals, cornflakes left, and I poured it in a bowl, and some roaches fell out, and KJ was like, "Oh, what did you do?" I was like, "Bro, I poured milk and I ate it." Like, once, like, if not, I didn't have anything
to eat, right?
Like, so he don't even get stuff. Like, he'd be like, "Dad, do we have to stay at Grandma's house?" Yeah, we got to stay at Grandma's house because
Yeah, we
you
do.
live in this 2,800 square foot house in Blythewood
Right.
and a 2-car garage
Right.
and a cul-de-sac, and we got an HOA fees that we pay, and
Right.
you don't really know what it's like to live in a house
They don't get it.
that you can see the floor when you taking a shower because we
Right.
couldn't afford to fix all of that.
Right.
So he just see, oh yeah, my dad, he drives a BMW. He can pick me up from football practice, basketball practice. Bro, I would have to catch a ride, bro. Like,
Right, they don't
our
get it.
struggles is what fueled our passion. Like,
Man,
these
listen.
kids don't see that.
When I pick my daughter from school, like the first big thing she want to do is go buy Zaxby's, right? Or McDonald's or something, right? Listen, when I was from the age of 5 to like 18, I might have eaten at McDonald's twice.
Special
Like,
occasion.
yeah, it was a
It's a special
it was a
occasion.
reward, it was a luxury. But now they're at the point where, like, you know what, let's just go. You know what I mean? And I was messing with my nephew earlier. Like he was playing on my TV, playing the video games. I couldn't play on my mama TV. I had a little TV
Not
in my
her living
room.
room.
Yeah,
Not in her living
I
room.
still can't sit in my mama's living room. So you know, and Arisha says Kyle has a great point. There are many homes where actions of love are missing.
Yeah.
Kids see and take in everything that happens in the home. Many kids are acting out because of the chaos in the home. Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
Right.
You know, like behind closed doors, like everything that may seem like the perfect family on the outside, but you don't know what's going on. You know, you really don't.
Man, my homeboy Jason said, God was not a part of my childhood. The biggest difference between the way I raised my kids and how I was raised is that God is in their life regularly. I was loved, cared for, and disciplined. But if I could get by my parents, then I thought I was good. We have to put the Lord back in our kids'
Yes.
life because parents
Yes.
can't be everywhere or teach the lessons. His word can. So at my grandmother's house on Sunday, going to church, that wasn't an option. So it wasn't even in my mind to wake up on Sunday and say, "Oh, grandma,
Like you have an option. No,
I don't feel like going to church."
no. What time is church?
Bro, no. What time was Sunday school? Because I had to go to Sunday school. Like I had to go to Sunday school.
Right.
I would have to go to church,
Right.
and if we had an evening service, I would have to stay all day because my
Right.
grandmother did the cooking. So
Right.
I would have to stay for the evening service. And if we had any events at our church, like field day, I would have to be the
Right.
one who would do every field event.
Vacation Bible school.
Vacation Bible school, like, bro, like these kids. So, like my daughter and my son, it ain't no, oh, dad, like, so my son, he played AAU on a nationally ranked team. So we travel a lot. Those weekends that we don't have an AAU tournament, it is no, oh, dad, can I just sleep in? Because we was just in DC the back-to-back weekends. No, KJ, bro, we going to church. Because I might not say something, right? But if he here, and then we go to Pastor Travis Green Church, made a way, Mr. Intentional, and Pastor Travis is up there in some off-white. So my son will already be locked in because he like, shoot, he wearing Jordan. So,
Right.
so however you got to reach these kids, but then I can see him, and if Pastor Travis say something that's good, and I'm like, man, I hope he caught that. I can see him, and he'll say, nod his head. Or when they sing in praise and worship, if he feeling the song, I can see him clap his. Bro, we gotta get these kids
Right.
back in church.
Right.
Like I'm glad he said that.
And the thing is, my mom didn't have a car, so we didn't make it to church every time if my aunt didn't come pick us up. But when we couldn't go to church, my mama did. We were sitting in her living room, and we were allowed to sit in the living room, and she was giving us church. She was reading the Bible, and on Wednesdays, we had Bible study in her living room.
I mean, the Bible says where two or more are gathered, so you don't have to go to church to have church. You know what I mean?
Right.
And to piggyback on something that Kyle said, the thing is, like, growing up, we didn't have a lot in common with our parents. Our music interests weren't the same.
Right.
We didn't wear the same clothes, but nowadays we have a connection with our kids that our parents never had with us. We can relate more. We're up on technology just like they are. We're wearing the same clothes. Hell, we like the same music, so we can use that to our advantage to kind of reel them in. But I think we get so caught up into what we have going on. It's like we don't even think that we have that upper hand.
And all of this goes back to the overall theme of this entire segment is poverty and the effects that it has on crime. If we fix or put half of those things in place, introduce God back in the kid's life, a village, education, respect, manners, doing the right thing even when nobody's like looking. And you're not gonna always do the right thing. I get it, man. Nobody's
None of us were
perfect.
perfect.
Right. But if we implement just half of those stuff, giving back your time, giving back to others, reaching back and helping somebody, if we implement half of that, half of that, we'll see a crazy reduction in crime. I personally believe, because then we'll then own our community. We'll then be respected. Kids will then have a certain level of respect. Kids will then fear like God, or fear like what my parents. These kids don't care. They ain't scared of anything.
Nothing. Nothing. Like, I mean, I think the parents are scared of the kids a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I totally agree with what you guys said.
It's and because I know with me and things that you know, I ain't scared of my daughter, but at the same time, it's like I'm like, well, I don't want to say that because I might hurt her feelings.
Right.
Like shit, my mama didn't care, man.
But the thing is, back then, what we were exposed to outside of the home is different than what the kids are exposed to outside of the home now. Because think about like the kids that are being killed from being bullied, committing suicide, or being jumped in school and then later on dying a couple of days later. They're being exposed to different things. So you kind of have to watch what you say. Because back then, our parents would say, "Go sit down, you'll be okay." Now, when a child comes talk to you, you really got to listen. Because you never know what they may not be able to translate it in a way for us to understand, but we got to actually listen to them.
Right. So how do we overcome and again we talk about the correlation between poverty and crime. Obviously we didn't know it, but we grew up in poverty.
Right.
We didn't see it that way because we always had everything because it wasn't until later on me and my mom talking I didn't really truly realize how much she struggled and how we moved like 3 or 4 times. I didn't know the reason we moved. Right. Now I do. Right. You know what I mean? So, but these are things that I was simply oblivious to as a kid. So how do we correct that? You know what I mean? Like how do we? Because I don't want to use poverty as an excuse. It exists, but how do we overcome that? What are our next steps? We talked about mentoring. We talked about all these other things, but what do we do? Because we don't have the answers, but I think the dialogue is the start of it.
I think that we can't give up.
Right.
Like I said, when I said that I reached out and wanted to pay for a child's prom experience, and no one came, and I kind of like just dropped the ball. That was my fault. That's where I failed.
The next year
I should have done it the next year, but I failed because I didn't keep my motivation, and I should not have given up. Right. And I think that for the ones that where no one reached out to us for help, we got to learn, like Kyle said, we got to reach back. And for the ones that did reach out and didn't get a response, we can't give up.
Right.
And I think that even if we have some type of vendetta with someone else back at home, let's take stuff out of the equation.
It's something that they should go
and understand the bigger picture is to save who we can save and save who's left.
Absolutely. And Kyle, I'll let you chime in a second, but Chubb known it today, man. Chubb says, for me, I didn't hear I love you enough. Like I knew my mom loved me because she showed it through her actions, but I simply gave my kids what I wanted, not materials, but the love. I tell them on average 10 to 15 times a day. Wow. Let them know their love. One of the greatest acts to do is inspire. Speak life and love in our children. Tell them the importance of education, manners, and respect.
Amen.
And Chubb, you hit the nail on the coffin because me and my mom, we laugh about it now. I think she may have told me she loves me 3 times in my entire life, period. I'm talking childhood and adult life. I knew she loved me because she would do certain things and say certain things. Right. But I tell Zoe I love her, like you said, probably 15 times a day. When I kiss her, when I drop off at school, Zoe, I love you. I pick her up, Zoe, I love you. It's like I need her to hear that from me first. But I don't know how it was with y'all, but I didn't hear I love you a whole lot growing up.
My mom, up until the day she passed away, the last conversation I had with her that day, my mom woke up every morning, and I think that she thought that we worked every day. Because she would wake us up 6, 7 o'clock in the morning with a text or a call, and I just called to see if you're okay and I love you. On my lunch break, before she went to bed, we were not allowed to go to bed without saying I love you. And my niece does that now. My mom helped raise her. Right. So every night before my niece goes to bed, she's like, Auntie Sheila, I love you. Good night, night, night. Right. Because that's what we knew, and that's what I missed the most is that she said it 50, 60 times a day.
Right. I didn't hear. Yeah, I didn't hear. I mean, my mom or my dad, wasn't there. I would only see my dad during the summers. But so you said what can be done, right? You were saying, what did you say? You said not giving up. So my cousin Jamal, my cousin we call Spanky, him and Chubb must be on the same wavelength because he said exposure creates vision. What they see is more powerful than what we say. What you expose them to plants a seed to train the mind to what to expect to grow. Right. Bruh.
Screenshot that and send that to me.
So it is so I had an aunt, my aunt Mildred. She lived in Manhattan. She has a brownstone. She had it before Bill Clinton and them moved in and raised up the property tax. She still owns this brownstone today. She can make, I forgot how much money she said she can make if she sold this. What we would do was, my grandmother, we went up like twice, about 2 or 3 times. I can remember summers where we went to New York for the summer. What Auntie Mill did when we was in New York, showed me not just these bright lights when she took me to 42nd Street and saw all of these people, not when she took me to World Foot Locker, but when she took me to the museum, when she took me to plays to go see, I thought was stupid, like boring plays. I thought, like, but it was planting some type of vision in my head, and I have no idea what that vision was then. But when I see it now being a motivational speaker and an author, I said,
mentality changer.
High five. The exposure, like that is, I'm glad he said that, bro. If we expose our kids and we take them out of Allendale and we take them out of Ridgeland and we take them to New York, we take them to Atlanta. I remember going to see the MLK where he lived, like, I mean, yeah, like where he lived and where he died now and how his body and this water thing and just seeing stuff like that showed me, bro, it's bigger than Ridgeland. It's bigger than like Pondland.
Right.
Like I can have my name on a billboard and then I have my name on a billboard.
Right.
Like I can be on TV and then I was on CNN, I was on Fox News, Sean Hannity, I was on the CBN 700 Club, like, because I saw other people do it.
And your daughter now has a book with you, right? So
Right.
does this black man from Ridgeland, from a high poverty, high crime area, not have a book, been on television, had his face on a billboard, now has a daughter in college that helped him write a book?
Together.
Right. So it can happen. We got to stop using poverty as a crutch.
Man.
I agree, and again, guys, this segment was great. I think that we got a lot of key points. Again, we didn't, so we don't have the answers, but I think starting the dialogue, having the conversation, I think that's key. So again, I want to thank you guys for joining me. This was phenomenal. I want to thank everybody who actually chimed in and commented. We'll be coming back to you again next week with another great topic. And again, guys, thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you.
Give it a minute.
Yeah, that was good. All right.
I'm glad you came.
Man, how ended? Just so happened I was right there where the gas station is, that little place right there.
Mhm.
That I was supposed to be meeting Mel. And I said, I don't know why I thought 7:30. I don't know what I thought. I don't know what I thought.
I mean, we started at 7.
It was still great. It was still great.
Yeah.
Because he was still trying to get the live stream going.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, didn't want to cooperate.
Yeah,
I got to go meet Tremaine. I got to do an interview with her. And then I got an 8:45 call with some new candidates.
What candidates? What kind of candidates?
Eastern Star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah. I had.
Thank you, cousin. Really appreciate it. You can still see us? You heard what I just said?
Oh, this.
Yeah, that was really good.
Still going.
Finally.
He ain't say nothing crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
For real.